January 1st being here. So. Judge Rufano, Judge Berman, Assemblyman Daikin, Assemblywoman Pinkin, past council members, Dubinsky, Almeida, Roselli, Warnowitz and Swiderski, Vaughn, Jones, Cucurdellis, past Mayor Zaghetti, employees, volunteers, members of the governing body, members of public safety, my parents and sister for all their love and support, my fiance for lighting my days, and distinguished guests. It's a humbling honor to take the oath of office in a place I've come to know so well and call my home since I've turned 5. I want to thank all the voters, particularly with the trend we're seeing with such low voter turnouts for elections. It's the fault of all politicians everywhere for fostering a tone that enables our society to view the most important civic right to be seen as inconsequential. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to represent you. But the selection is not about me or any of the other individuals up here. I believe the reason I find myself on election night receiving the most votes of anyone on the ballot is because, like myself, our residents are incredibly frustrated with the current state of our town and want to see a different tone, different values, and smarter policies that incentivize efforts to improve property values and foster South River's sense of place. My colleagues and I ran to usher in a new tone, rekindle these values, and introduce smarter policies. We campaigned to lower electric rates, and after 2 years of our governing body saying it couldn't be done, our campaign finally put pressure on officials to begin bringing down the rates. Our campaign embraced 21st century technology to provide a much-needed proper dialogue between residents and the governing body. During our mayor's first campaign back in 2011, he promised South River's presence on Facebook. Feeling the pressure from our campaign, he finally seems to be making good on his promise, and I congratulate him for that. Proposing an official borough webpage a couple meetings ago is a great start to bringing back that dialogue with the town. With this move, he'll be joining other forward-looking organizations and departments in town, such as the police department, the fire department, the Department of Public Works. I'm excited to be a part of this. This is an important step to rekindling that dialogue. Our message this year pushed for policies that would embrace South River's vibrant past and apply them to the realities of today. Sean and I understand this history because we both lived it ourselves. We want to see fewer regulations, fees, and permits that prevent residents and businesses from improving their properties and our town. Starting today, we're going to explore ways to implement such changes, and hopefully my opponents will truly embrace our ideas and work with us rather than merely talking about bipartisanship. However, the biggest challenge facing our town is the current lack of trust upon the dais. The entire reason I decided to run for office had to do with this frustration. I feel our governing body is failing us because, frankly, I don't trust them. I'm not alone in this sentiment. I want to make major strides in restoring this trust, and we'll be dedicating much of this year to rehabilitating our relationship with the residents. For instance, when the governing body spends the last 2 years claiming that it would be irresponsible to lower electric rates and then moves swiftly to lower rates right before the election, we have to question the motive. If we can't trust your policies, how can we trust you? At the last meeting, I requested that the proposed minutes of a prior meeting better reflect my words, asking to have 8 to 10 words added to the minutes to better provide understanding for my objections to a particular vote. Almost unbelievably, the council voted this simple request down. Behavior like this raises significant concerns about our government's transparency. If we don't believe you're acting transparently, how can we trust you? Those objections pertain to a decision by our governing body to give our architect $68,000 more for a firehouse, despite no legal or justifiable reason to offer him this extra money besides his request. As stewards of the taxpayers' finances, I disapprove of this action. Spending decisions like this happen regularly, yet our council suggests there's no room to lower taxes, or at least keep them level. If you don't consider taxpayer money in your decision-making, how can we trust you? Let's talk directly about the firehouse. I support the needs of our firemen and understand the need for a new firehouse. Councilman Houserman supports the same need. The rest of the governing body does as well. Let's put to rest this ridiculous claim that anyone up here is against the firehouse. It's simply untrue. What is true, however, is that when I first learned of this project, members on this body were claiming it wouldn't dare cost more than $5 million. But because the project wasn't properly budgeted or planned, we're now watching costs associated with the project exceed $10 million. When your unofficial fiscal estimates are so off, how can we trust you? Our residents have the right to be upset by the ever-increasing price tag. Questioning these costs have been spun up by others on this governing body as being against the entire project. That type of talk needs to stop. For instance, the town was in talks to purchase property at the original site of the project for nearly $1 million, even though the same property now sits, unpurchased mind you, for less than half that today. Residents have a right to question decisions like this. And if your decisions don't make fiscal sense, how can we trust you? After hinting towards efforts to explore redevelopment for over 2 years, our governing body now seems to celebrate a redevelopment plan that would affect the entirety of our downtown in ways we currently can't fully appreciate. Despite all this time, the specific details envisioned are still not public, despite a schedule to vote on the plan later this month. The lack of detail prevents our residents and other interested parties, particularly businesses, from making an informed decision for which to base their evaluation of the plan. I can't help but think that the hiding of the details of this plan is being done intentionally for one reason or another. Considering all the other questionable decisions you've made over the past few years, how can we trust you now? It really tells you something when a newcomer to politics receives more votes than everyone else in the ballot. I think distrust is the word that best explains this reality. Our voters are expressing their distrust at the ballot box. As a governing body, we need to listen to these concerns and work hard to restore them. Losing their trust can have real ramifications for our town's future. As a result, I'm making it a major focus, doing everything I can to restore this trust. Trust is built on several things. Residents must be confident that the government is acting transparently. They must also feel satisfied that the government is working in residents' best interests. And finally, the residents must believe that our future is brighter than our past. I think we are currently failing in these 3 regards, and these failures have given way to current frustrations. Let's work together to change our behavior and return this trust. It's probably appropriate to end reciting our town's motto for the benefit of everyone upon the dais. South River, a community with a proud past and a bright future. I want to be just as proud of our future as I am of my past, of our past. We come together and change our ways and re-inspire this trust from our neighbors. We need to come together and change our ways and re-inspire this trust from our neighbors. As long as we can ensure that the government is one that serves you, South River's future is bright. Let's do what's right. Thank you.